I'm the computer man. I'm the Macintosh man with the virus scan. Moving your files all across the land. Some Photoshop filters in After Dark. Get your Microsoft Office, express your quark. Millions of colors with a VRAM chip. How about a system crash that'll make you flip? I'm the computer man. I'm saying Windows 95 is plug and pray. If it's fonts you want, you gotta go to Macway. Log right on as my personal guest. You'll have Macintosh software on your desk. Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
Good evening, K-Squid listeners. Good evening, Santa Cruz, Central Coast, and beyond. My name is Luigi Opido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers right by the beach here in beautiful Santa Cruz, California. And for the next hour, I am your tour guide into a world of wonder, magic, information, and a lot of frustration. Yeah, that's right. We're talking about the internet and the world of computing. I am your computer man. Welcome to one of the most helpful, friendly tech counters I hope you've ever visited. I'd like to welcome you to your Tuesday night to your local radio station, your local KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid, 90.7 FM and KSQD.org, broadcasting live over those inner tubes everywhere the internet reaches, and some places it doesn't, actually. Pretty good. But we're here. We're here every Tuesday night, and I'm stoked to be here with you. Welcome to the show. Welcome to a lot of the things that we've got going on tonight. Tons of things going on this evening, and a lot coming at us in different ways. I've got a packet of stuff. In fact, I brought a packet in today. I'd say that every week, but this week the packet's extra thick. Email questions galore. We're going to actually spend the entire second half of the show just on that, but we're also going to be talking about Apple, new iOS 18. A lot of the new things are coming out on the internet. A lot of new products are coming out, including some NVIDIA things that are coming through. A new $40,000 GPU to a 206 billion transistors in like 2 square inches. Insane. Guy's saying he's breaking physics, but I think he's just kind of bending it a little bit. We'll talk about that as well. But before we get into that, I'd like to talk about some of the most important things here, like our website here at KSQD and KSQD.org, where you can find any of the things going on here at the station and anything else going on around town right here on our one awesome website. But what else can you do on the website? That's right, the big red candy-like button at the top, and that candy-like button allows us to be here because that is our donate button. That's right. We are a complete volunteer-based radio station here in Santa Cruz. We are not beholden to anybody except for you, our amazing, illustrious listeners, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But we can't do it without you. So jump onto the website, the KSQD website. Check out all the cool things going on. Check out our schedule. Check out the listening tab where you can listen to any of our shows. And from there, hit that donate button. And that's right, make it reoccurring for us so we know what's coming in and we appreciate you. I know I ask for it every show, but I wouldn't be here without it. So I appreciate you and thank you. And we wouldn't have it any other way because this way it allows me to talk about Apple, allows me to talk about Amazon, allows me to talk about all these companies because we don't have any beholden to anybody except for you, our most important person, which is our listener. So thank you so much for being you. Thank you for listening out there. And let's get into it here. If you'd like to reach out to me after the show, you can always email me, Luigi, Luigi, at ksqd.org. That's Luigi at ksqd.org. While we're here in the studio, on air at ksqd.org is our illustrious on-air email system. Boop, it's up and running right there. There, I see it. Let's see if we have anything going on the texting side. Let's see if we can sign in if it's already signed in. We won't do texting tonight, but we will have the phone numbers open at 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. Pretty cool. That spells it out, all right? And if you're just catching the Computer Man Show for the first time, welcome, of course, welcome. If you don't know what we're about, well, you're in for it. Because we got some cool stuff coming. It's all about tech, but most importantly, our updates, our new devices, testimonials, scams, which we talk a lot about, and of course, our call-ins. What is going on with your stuff? This is your free hour to call in to get directly to the tech, directly for some tech support, and it doesn't cost you a thing, except for the listening and jumping on ksqd.org and giving your fair share. That's right, with that donate button. As we always ask, go at 831-900-5773. And again, we're all about those updates and all about those new devices and testimonials, but we're talking a lot about scams and a lot about email questions, and we're here from every Tuesday night from 6 to 7 p.m. And of course, again, one more time, 831-900-5773 or on air at ksqd.org. Okay, let's talk about the scams because I want to get them over with because the scams. But there was an important thing that happened last week. AT&T, data breach, 73 million accounts, past and present. 73 million accounts. Okay, so how many people are in the United States? Like 400 million, let's say. Let's just round it off, right? And let's say, I don't know, maybe, let's say a quarter of those are kids or whatever that don't have cell phones. And maybe there's another little bit that don't have cell phones as well. So let's put it down. So 400 down to 200 million, right? And let's say that everybody doesn't have an AT&T account, but there's a lot of AT&T accounts. So maybe they have like a third of that. So that sounds like, I don't know, maybe their entire database got lost. Their entire database got leaked, which includes me, includes a lot of people. Does it include you? And you can check it. Have I been pwned? PWNED.com. Have I been pwned? PWNED.com. So what has gotten leaked? Well, AT&T is not really saying. They're not saying if it's like more of a corporate leak or if it's just like a personal thing. But they say that 73 million current and former accounts have been posted on the dark web. So if you have an email address and a password combination, you use an email address and then you sign in with a password at AT&T. I want you to take that email address and password combination and look and go, okay, those two things. Where do I use that same combination of email? Where do I use that same combination of password? And where does that go anywhere else in my online world? Do I sign into Netflix with that email address and password combination? Do I sign into my bank? Do I sign into anything? And take those places that you sign in with the same combination and change your password. Do it now. Like, stop listening to the show and go do it now if you have an AT&T account, for real. Because this is a huge leak that AT&T finally just said, oh, okay, I guess we'll talk about it. You're like, you guess we'll talk about it? Your entire database got leaked. Like, your entire thing. Well, no, just 73 million. That's all. Just 73 million. You're like, that sounds like a lot. Sounds like a most. And if we do that quick math, like we just did, sounds like pretty much everybody you've got, right? So, how do I know if I was affected? Well, consumers affected by the breach will most likely be emailed from AT&T, right? Yeah, they were rolling out the emails on Saturday, I believe. So you may get an email, you may not. But what about what action has been taken by AT&T? Well, they said that AT&T's reset the passcodes of the current users, but and also the company would pay for credit monitoring services, which I believe is just a cop-out because those services are... I don't know. I mean, the services exist, and yeah, if you get an open credit thing, they'll email you. So, okay. So they're watching instead of you, I guess. But still, it's like, oh, we let everything go and we reset your stuff now. You're like, yeah, but dude, my email address and password are like out there now. And you're like, well, we reset it with us. You're like, well, okay. These breaches are going to happen. They're going to happen again. But of course, it's like, it's like AT&T or it's like Yahoo or some of these companies that are they seem to just not care. And that's, again, me sitting in my chair here behind the mic going, well, I think they just don't care. I think they do. That's what it feels like. Because there could have been, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sitting in AT&T's boardrooms, and I don't know. I haven't been talking with AT&T's IT, so I'm not sure what they're doing, but this is bad. So if you've got it, if you've got AT&T, just keep in mind that your stuff may be out there. Again, go to the website, Have I Been Pwned, PWNED.com. Type in your email address. The site is run by a white hat hacker. A white hat hacker is an ethical hacker. And so it's one of those people that use their hacking skills for good and to find vulnerabilities and to help others who don't have the skills that the white hat hackers do. You can type in your email address and be comfortable with it and know that that's okay. And then from that, you can find out if you have been compromised. And you might have been. And if you've been compromised, it'll tell you where you've been compromised. And if you've been compromised on a website, you can go to that website or know that website's email address and password that you have. And then you look at your web paradigm that you go to, the sites that you visit, and see if you use that combination anywhere else. And if you do, change it. And that's the point of the website. With AT&T, it's just a renewal. Because this is not going to be the last time. It's not going to be the first time. But it's not going to, it's going to happen again. And everyone's information is basically out there at this point. So the best thing you can do is just kind of keep yourself up and up, change things as they come, and you're like, oh, should I be preventative? Should I be reactionary? At this point, it's kind of more of a reactionary thing. You can be preventative by changing your password quite often, as long as you have some type of manager and you know what you're doing and you won't forget that password. But other than that, just keep on, and if you have the password combination that you use on AT&T, change it anywhere else you use that combination. Okay. Another thing that's kind of been big is the stolen iPhone thing. iPhones have been around forever, and they've been kind of known to the criminal community as being something that's, if you steal it, you can't really do much with it. You can't reactivate it and use it. Can't use a $1,400 iPhone 15 for yourself because it's tied to an Apple ID, right? So why do we care? Well, there's a whole problem right now of this black market thing going on in China where they break apart the parts or they jailbreak them and then sell them to people for a little amount of money. And then that person now is literally on your phone, your stolen phone, not reset back to factory, but on your phone, getting your text messages, theoretically could be you signing into your websites, etc., because it can't be reset because they don't have the Apple ID. So this person, they said, my sister's phone was stolen in Florida, and now the Chinese buyer in Hong Kong is dramatically trying to get her to unlink her iCloud account. It sucks to be him, right? And this is the script that usually goes. The person that has their iPhone stolen will receive these messages. Next, they'll start sending death threats, saying, I know where you live, I know where your addresses are, I have all your information, da-da-da-da-da. Your phone's gone. You're not getting your phone back, and you understand that. Your phone is gone. So what can you do to basically screw the person on the other side? Well, the best thing you can do is to put your phone into lost mode and never remove it from Find My iPhone. So on your phone, on your Apple phone, you have a program called Find My. And Find My allows you to, it used to be called Find My iPhone, but now you can find all sorts of stuff. So they removed the iPhone. It's just called Find My. And you can do your iPad or your AirPods or your iPhone or your friend's iPhone, or if you're linked, or or an AirTag if you have one of those being used as well. So any of those things can be used and be searched for and found. And if you are looking for devices, you can find it there. Especially if you lost your device, you can see. And that's how some people say, like, I can see my device in Shanghai. I can see my device in Hong Kong. I can see it right there on Find My because it's pinging from there because it hasn't been reset. So the first thing, don't remove it from Find My iPhone. Second thing, click on your phone in Find My iPhone, or Find My, excuse me. Scroll down and enable or activate Mark as Lost. What that does is it turns the phone's functionality basically off, except for the note you have displayed on it and a clickable link for a phone number to contact you when someone has found the phone. Now, this one, we know it's in Shanghai. We know it's in Hong Kong. We know wherever it is. It's not with you, and you're not getting it back. It's gone. It's been stolen. So if you leave it in Mark as Lost mode, the other person can't use it at all, and it also makes it so they can't reset it back to factory. So it's on top of the iCloud, et cetera. So it just sticks a fork in them, and then you just wait until the phone basically shuts off, and then someone's going to tear it apart and use it as parts, and that's it. So it's nothing getting the phone back, but it is kind of controlling your data within the phone because you've already been screwed, and now you can take that data, and it's still kind of, it's yours still, rather than the other person using it. I mean, the people that are talking about this, they're getting text messages from themselves saying, hey, unlock the phone. Hey, give me your passcode. Hey, remove it from your iCloud so I can do this. Hey, I've got your phone. You're never getting it back, so you might as well just let me have it, type stuff. And you go, yeah, nah, not gonna do that. So boop, you just lock them out, and then they've got a paperweight, and they will then not buy from a scammer again, maybe, or something. I don't know. It's that last little bit of control that you have. Or you can be a charitable person and give it to them and then reward the whole process. Either way, I don't know. It's totally up to you. See my cynicism there? Okay. So moving on out of the scam world, I think we're kind of out of the scam. Let me see if there's anything else with the scams. I had a blank sheet. This is just about AT&T. So it says 73 million. Just to go back to it real quick. Let's see. Okay, so the company said it's assessing the breach whether the data, which includes social security numbers, came from AT&T itself or one of its vendors. It says it appears to be from 2019 or earlier. And it says that the AT&T, the cybersecurity experts hired by AT&T to do a robust investigation found that affecting 7.6 million current account holders and approximately 65.4 million former account holders. So that leads to the whole thing of like, if I have a former account at AT&T and I close that account, making it a former account, right? Why do you still have my information? Why is it still stored on a server that can be hacked along with current stuff? Why? This is my anger. Okay. It says, also, currently AT&T does not have evidence of unauthorized access to its systems. The company is communicating proactively with those impacted and will be offering credit monitoring at our expense where applicable. So they're going to pay for like TransUnion or Experian or whatever to watch your credit and say, hey, someone open a credit account. Like, that's what it does. It says it's already reached out to the 7.6 million current customers and reset their passcodes, and in the process of reaching out to the former ones. And then right below it says AT&T shares sync to the 30-year low. So we encourage our customers to remain vigilant by monitoring account activity and credit reports. So Yeah, so AT&T, yay. Okay, so on a good side, we were talking about NVIDIA when we first opened the show. NVIDIA just put out this new chip, this new GPU, 208 billion with a B. 208 billion transistors in the size of your palm. So they showed the chip, and it was like a 4-inch by 4-inch chip. But the CEO actually said that the transistors are located in the center of the chip, which would be about a 2-inch by 2-inch square, so even smaller. But dude, the tech in the next 2 years, or at least the computing power in the next 2 years, is going to be unbelievable. As we say every year, it gets better and better. But as of now, the way that we've been moving forward and a couple breakthroughs that have happened, especially with NVIDIA, it's going to be really, really something in the next 2 years. So they say that the chip is going to average 30 to 40,000, and it's it's an industry chip. It's not something that the layman would have, for some supercomputer at NASA or something like that, or some thing that's doing heavy computational loads like movie, rendering, that kind of stuff. But they said that just for that chip, for the first iteration of it, was $10 billion in research and development. And so there's this, everyone's, watching this one video of talking about the CEO and stuff, and everybody in the comments is talking about how he said that it breaks the laws of physics. And you're like, ugh, you shouldn't say it breaks the laws of physics, man. Like, saying that to people and then then showing this amazing technology and then people going, well, you can't break the laws of physics. And you go, then it negates the amazing technological breakthrough that you just made. You could say that it bends the laws of physics because theoretically modern circuitry does do that. It kind of defies earlier laws of physics, like memory chips. They basically use quantum principles to move electrons across impassable barriers. So the electrons don't actually pass through the barrier that is set up. It just disappears on one side and pops up on the other at a probabilistic necessity. So yeah, quantum stuff is pretty fun. Which also leads to the point why sometimes, if you load a web page, sometimes it loads, sometimes it doesn't, or there's a probability why the thing starts up one time, it doesn't start up the other time. It's like quantum computing stuff, if you really want to get into it. But so that's kind of neat. It's just a cool chip, and it's amazing to see technology. 208 billion, with a B, billion transistors in 2 inches by 2 inches. And that's insane. Just the sheer number of just things that are on that little chip is really something. It's like the largest chip that's ever been made, I guess, or smallest chip. But anyway, okay. The other thing I want to talk about real quick that I had seen, that I actually had a client come in and we talked about this, and I started doing research and found out that it's set up by default on Android phones. We always talk about iPhones and stuff. I have an iPhone, but Android phones, which are on the other side of phones, and a lot of people have Android phones, by default, you can see everywhere you've ever been on Google Maps. That's the default setting on an Android phone. If you ever had your location turned on, or if you've had your location turned on, since whenever you've had your phone, if you go to Google Maps timeline, you can see everywhere you've been with timestamps and a map of directions. Okay, it's turned on by default. This is turned on by default, and it actually is kind of difficult to turn off, to be honest. If you use shared accounts, or if someone has access to your phone, they can see every single place you've been and when you were there. And I think durations too, because then you leave, so then it can tell you, how long you actually stay there. If your Google account is ever compromised, they can totally look at this data and get an idea of your daily routine. I don't know if they would do that for like break-ins or something weird. I mean, like if it's nuts. It's courts, like the court system, and companies can use this as evidence or just creepy snooping stuff, right? So it's a huge privacy concern. I can't believe that's on by default, but I'm sure there was actually like a non-nefarious reason for that. I'm sure at some point, maybe a lot of people were using it, and when it first came out, and they're like, you know what? Everyone's asking us how to turn this thing on. We're just going to leave it on, and if people want to turn it off, they can contact us. And it's something like that. I bet it's some help desk thing that they didn't want to keep getting the calls with, and so they changed it so everything just defaulted on, and then things got really interconnected and really creepy. I don't know. I'm just conjecturing. That's just what I'm thinking. But if you turn it off, you can no longer see your map's search history, which is like, I mean, I use Google Maps on my iPhone, and I use my search history all the time. I'm like, where was I just at? I go to all sorts of people's homes. I go to new places every day because I'm going to house calls or wherever I'm doing, fixing stuff. And it's great to see, where was I last week? Where was that one house I went to? Or there was a cool road or something I want to drive on. So if you turn off that thing, it turns off your search history, which is really stupid. But if you're not concerned with the privacy, you can see where you've been on any day in the past, which if you take away all the creepiness is really cool. You can see some restaurant you went to 2 years ago, or you can see any day in the past where you were. If you want to see where you were this day 3 years ago or something, just curious, oh, this is a big letter day, the birth of your child or something. What was I doing 2 years ago, 3 years ago? Where was I physically standing? Or if you bought something at some random store, you don't know where that store is, you could jump on your Google stuff and look through your search. So on the non-creepy side, if you just kind of negate negativity, there's some cool stuff, kind of a cool feature. Or if you were out, rode your bike to the bars or something, and then you parked, and then, the phone will know when you're moving at like a bike speed, and then know when you get off, and then when you start walking at a normal speed, so it knows where you stopped, and then you can, you have your good night at the bars, and then you go, wait a minute, where did I put my bike? Jump on Google Maps. There's your bike. So there's some good stuff with it, but overall, it is kind of creepy. It's another thing to, just to follow you. If you really don't want to be tracked, leave your phone at home. I mean, I guess there's other things in your car and stuff like that. If you have like a new car and things that can follow you and things. When I had a 2016 vehicle, they took away this feature, and I think the next year, the year after. But in 2016, in the computer, you could dig through the settings, and it would show it wouldn't show you where you went, but it would show that you drove for a certain amount of time at a certain time on a certain day, and then it would tell you, how long it took you to get there and stuff like that. So if someone's like, oh, you were blah, 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 you could actually go into the car and look at the date and the time and see if there was a drive during that time. You're like, oh, I was sitting at home. It's like, well, your car says you were driving for 35 minutes. You're like, ugh. Now the new cars have all the black boxes in them and stuff, and they do all sorts of creepy stuff. But it's also a good thing if you get in an accident, it's not your fault. It's also not a good thing if you get in an accident and it is your fault. So, depending, wherever you want to look at it. Okay, let's see what else we've got here. I've got enough for email questions. We probably could just get into it. But I have a couple news articles we're going to get to here before we go to our halfway break. Move my giant slogging packet of emails. Ugh, huge. Okay, so iOS 18. iOS 18 is coming. And one of the big things that we've been talking about with iOS 18 is RCS support. RCS is Rich Communication Services. Why do you care about that? Well, you might if you have a friend with an Android phone. One of my best friends has an Android phone. And so we have this little trio group text between me and my two friends. Two of us have iPhones. One of us has an Android phone. And it used to be, before iOS 17 or 16 or so, if I would send a photo, let's say I took a photo with my phone and I sent it to our group text, and it had some, someone's holding up a book or something, and with the title of the book on it. Sometimes, depending on the send, it would then reduce the quality of the photo, where my friend with an Android phone and my friend with the iPhone, even though I'm sending from iPhone to iPhone in our group, the group itself, because it has an Android person in it, would reduce the quality of the photo down to something where you couldn't even read the title of the book that the person was holding. And of course, you could still see the person, you could get the gist of the video and or the photo and stuff, but you can't read details. So you're like, okay, well, that's kind of a weird niche thing. Why do you care about that? Say, well, also read receipts, or when you send somebody from iPhone to iPhone and you send it to them and it shows delivered, or it shows read when they read it. That kind of stuff is also part of the Rich Communication Standard. And those things between iPhone and Android, they don't jibe, they don't talk. But with iOS 18, and because of the European Union, thank you guys out there, they are now going to be able to communicate and get all of the features that you can get. Right now, if you were to start some group text with a bunch of iPhone users and a bunch of Android users, and you jump in the text and go, hey fools, haha, I started this group text, there's 20 of you, screw you or something, you say haha, and did it because you wanted to get to them. There is no way, I believe, and they might have done this in iOS 17, but as of iOS 16, there was no way to remove yourself from that group. If someone wrote you back, the group would show back up. There was no way to tell the group, hey, I want out of this. Stop sending me stuff in this group, because that also is a communication standard that goes in with some of the protocols that iPhone and Androids don't talk with each other, because Google hates iPhone, iPhone hates Google. The same way when you look at your calendar on your phone. In iOS 17, here we are. I use the Google Calendar I like Google Calendar because I have a Google account, and up there it says 31 every single day. But yet my iPhone calendar says the date, says Tuesday the 2nd. Why does it do that? Well, iPhone doesn't allow non-Apple products to have live tiles on your home screen, which means that if I have the calendar app, I can't see what the date is. I have to open the app and then it tells me the date. But I keep the Apple calendar app close by so I can see the date just sitting there on my desktop or on my iPhone screen. And I have to if I want to see the date, unless I want to use some other app or something else that tells me that. There's no way to live update the tile. Same thing with the clock. If you look at the clock icon on the iPhone, remember when that a long time ago it was just a clock, and then actually it turned into a live tile that actually showed you the real time. But if you get any other clock from any other manufacturer or any other place, it will not show you the live time because Apple does not allow the live tiles. So it's this constant battle of saying, well, we're on iPhone, so you better do iPhone things. You're on Microsoft, you better do Microsoft things. You're on Apple, you better do Apple things. You're on Linux, you can do whatever you want. So iOS 18 is going to bring the Android feature to iPhone. That's what they're saying. They're basically saying that instead of iPhone's going to allow these things, they're basically saying it's going to allow Android features on the iPhone. So it will be able to place. Also, this is just something completely aside, but it says that iPhone users will allow to place app icons anywhere on the home screen grid. Now, that's conjecture. We don't know that. But that's one of the things that pisses me off about my phone. I do not want them in a list left to right like that. I'd like to have some in a corner. I'd like to have some up in the corner or have one in the center or one off to the side. It's on the grid still, so it's not going to be like in the center. But I hate the fact that I have to have things from the top left down. I have an iPhone 12 Plus Pro Gigantosaur. What if I'm trying to reach the very top on some of my emptier pages? It's annoying, and I don't like it. I don't do that half thing where it drops the screen down. I'm not going to do that. So that's nice. The main thing is... Oh, you can create... Yeah, okay. But the RCS control, that's really, really, really big. So it's going to come sometime in the fall of 2024, which will most likely come at iOS 18 when it gets released, whenever that is, in 18.1. They're saying it's probably in October. So May, June, July, October. So about 5 months or so, 5 or 6 months. And it also should result in better conversations between iPhones and Android smartphones. But it's going to be available for iMessage and many third-party messaging apps. That was the other thing. That's right. It's also going to be included in things like WhatsApp, Telegram. It's going to be awesome. So it's going to be just more. It's going to be basically every feature you can do iPhone to iPhone, you'll also be able to do on the green bubbles inside your messaging app. That's super cool. Also, another thing that's coming out on iOS 18 for those iPhone users out there, there's going to be some pretty cool stuff, supposedly, coming from an AI like on-device thing. So basically, Apple's AI people that they hire for AI, the researchers are boasting a useful on-device model that, quote, substantially outperforms, unquote, GPT-4. So GPT-4 is ChatGPT. That's the latest version of ChatGPT. And it's supposedly with iOS 18, we're going to get some type of AI something that we're going to be able to communicate with some server on Apple, and it's supposedly going to be better. So it's not going to be Siri, I guess. It's going to be something else. I don't know. They keep joking that they're going to be right there too. And so it said Apple's AI gurus describe a system in which Siri can do much more than try to recognize what's in an image. And they think it's going to be better. The benchmarks are going to be better than ChatGPT 4. It says Apple describes something that could give a large language model enhanced voice assistant a useful boost. Like on-screen entities that are that'll show that you can do things with on-screen stuff. Conversational entities, like when the user says "call mom," the contact for mom will be the only relevant entity in question. Or from a virtual assistant, it says when the agent provides a user a list of places or alarms to choose from. So it's basically going to be like a smarter, better Siri, from what they're saying. But the Real M, which is what Apple's AI thing is called right now, outperforms previous app approaches and performs roughly as well as the state-of-the-art LLM today, like large language model, which is GPT-4, describing consistently, despite consisting of fewer parameters, even for on-screen references, despite being purely in the textual domain. We'll see. We'll see. It was just cool. I saw that. I heard of it. I was like, okay, iOS 18 is getting some type of weird, AI thing. Great. It's in 5 months. A lot can change in 5 months. So we'll see what happens with that. Okay, what else do we have here? I got some pictograms here. Oh, as of 2024, as of today in 2024, it says like Windows 10 is at 47.8% of all computing is on Windows 10. Windows 11 has 20%, so that means it's 67% of computers out there are running Windows. Mac still only has 14.6% of the market. Interesting. Linux is at 3.9, which is awesome. Chrome is at 2.2. Windows 7 has dropped down to 2.1%. Windows 8 is at 1.4%. Less people are using Windows 8 than Windows 7. Unix is at 0.3%. Windows XP still making it with 0.2%. And MS-DOS is still holding on also with 0.2%. Amazing. This is the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid, 90.7 FM, 89.5, and 89.7 FM, and KSQD.org. Stick around right here. We got a couple underwriters to go through, and then we're going to get back into it with a ton of email questions. You too can call in at 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about the show, or you just want to talk about something that's going on with your machine, I'd love to hear about it. Give me a call after the break. We will be literally right back.
Every Wednesday at 6 p.m. on KSQD 90.7 FM, you'll find me, Dr. Dawn Motika, ready to respond to your calls and emails on health and medical science topics and issues. We cover medical breakthroughs and medical breakdowns. As an expert in alternative and complementary medicine as well, I bring a lifetime of experience and compassion to our mutual dialogue. Please join the discussion Wednesday night at 6 p.m. on KSQD. Don't Google your symptoms. Ask Dr. Dawn.
Support for KSQD comes from the Monterey Bay Air Resources District. The Wood Stove Changeout Program now offers higher incentives for Santa Cruz, Monterey, and San Benito County residents to switch to cleaner home heating alternatives. Details at montereybaycleanair.org. That's montereybaycleanair.org. Thank you, MBARD, for supporting community radio K-Squid.
My name is Luigi Opido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers and the host of The Computer Man Show, a 1-hour call-in show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Viruses, slowdowns, scams, and updates. Computers can be a pain, and I'll help you through it.
Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
If it has an on switch, we'll probably talk about it on The Computer Man Show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. only on KSQD 90.7 FM Santa Cruz.
Get into a computer.
Hi, I'm Bobby Bishop, host of Be in the Night, bringing you the best I can with jazz, love songs, and soul. Join me on Tuesday evenings from 7 to 10 p.m., playing the classics straight ahead and introducing you to the latest artists and composers. That's Tuesday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. right here on listener-supported KSQD 90.7 FM, Santa Cruz.
Yes, if you're a listener to The Computer Man Show, I hope you're a listener to Bobby B and Be in the Night, because this allows all this computer nonsense and all the stuff I wind up in you with all the computers to just ooze out of your ears. And it's okay. The stuff will stick, the important stuff, but jazz is important. So stick around. Be in the Night coming up at 7 o'clock. Also, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights, we have jazz from 7 to 10, curated by some of the most talented people in our station, man. Everyone's so talented here, but the stations that we have and the shows, but the jazz shows are awesome. So stick around. Be at Bobby B. Be in the Night coming up at 7 o'clock. Don't miss it. And you are here at KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid 90.7 FM, 89.5 and 89.7 FM, and KSQD.org, as well as KSQT Prunedale out here. We are at The Computer Man Show with your host, me, Luigi Opido from Pleasure Point Computers here in town. And we're going to get to some email questions now, which I have some from last week. I have a ton more from this week. It's a thick packet. There's like 20 pages. It's crazy. There's a lot of stuff here. So, and it actually went right through. The stapler didn't even go all the way through. That's how many email questions I've got here. So let's get started on it and see what's going on. Okay, so this is a long one. We'll see how we can get into it kind of here real quick. Okay. My entire PC stutters. My computer stutters for half a second after a new CPU and BIOS update. Okay. Last year in January, I bought a new CPU, a Ryzen 7 5800 X3D. So the Ryzen series is by AMD. The Intel series has like the Pentium processors, i3, i5, i7, i9. So this is a Ryzen 7 done by AMD, which takes a lot of power. Ryzen's are everything in AMD just eats power. They get it from heat, they get it from power. So if you have a Ryzen, you're always going to need a little bit more power just in general. So and installed it on my motherboard, B550M Steel Legend. That's a solid standard motherboard. Before that, I had a Ryzen 5 5600X. Okay. I updated my BIOS to the version that was required by the CPU, and almost always when you get a Ryzen CPU, you have to update your BIOS. It's just for some reason, I don't know if they changed some architecture thing, but every new build that I've done with a Ryzen, I've had to do a BIOS update with it. Just part of it. So I updated my BIOS to the version that was required by the CPU, and I installed the needed CPU drivers. Interesting. Switched the CPU, and everything for the most part is working just fine. Ever since then, I would sometimes get random stutters once or twice a day while playing games or watching something on Netflix, YouTube, etc. Sometimes the stutters would happen for a week or more, or wouldn't happen for a week or more. Okay. Stutters can be explained as if the whole PC is stuttering. Like when a game goes below 24 frames per second, the sound and frames on the monitor start looking like individual pictures and only lasts for a maximum of 1 second. Today, I've had it enough of it. I'm trying to discover the problem. I checked my PSU, and it has more than enough power. List of PC parts below. We'll get to that in a second. And for the parts I use on my PC, including the requirements of the new CPU, I found two things that people normally say would cause a problem. One, in the device manager, the new CPU and the old CPU are both listed, but the old is grayed out. Should I uninstall it? That's interesting. Two, in my BIOS mode is listed as legacy, but everyone's saying it should be listed as UEFI. Could this also be the culprit of the stutters? Okay, first of all, before we even get into any of this other stuff, number one, device manager, new CPU, old CPU. Yeah, get rid of the old CPU. There's no reason for it to be there. It's storing some stuff just because it's storing some stuff, but there's no reason at all for you to have the old CPU in there along with the new CPU. If you can, get rid of it. You should be able to right-click on it and just go straight to, it should be uninstall or it should be remove, or there should be a pretty standard thing that says, to remove it when you right-click on it and go to properties, or you should be able to click on it, and then it should give you some options along the top. Second thing, my BIOS mode is listed as legacy, but everyone's saying it should be listed as UEFI. Okay. UEFI is the way that Windows 10 now boots to. If your computer's booting, you're fine. Legacy just allows you to get some older things if you wanted to boot from a flash drive, or you want to boot from a CD-ROM drive, or you want to boot for something else. You can change from legacy to UEFI, but that shouldn't have anything to do with the way the computer is functioning. It should just be the way that the computer boots and looks at the encryption matrix and the way that the computer is booting the operating system, not the way the computer is running the operating system. That's all about just boot. BIOS is only about the basic input-output system. That's what BIOS stands for. As soon as you see something on the screen, the BIOS has done its job. And we talk about this quite often, but just again, for the people who are new, the BIOS, when you hit that post beep, beep, the power on self-test beep, beep, which we used to hear all the time, which we don't hear a lot on new machines, that means BIOS is done. It's done everything it's done. It's loaded everything it's supposed to load. And if your computer boots up, the BIOS is correct. And that's basically it. If you have a problem with your BIOS, your computer's not booting properly, or it's not seeing something, or it's not seeing the card, or it's not seeing an entire peripheral section of your motherboard or something. It's all about routing power on your motherboard. So if you're seeing it and if it's booting, it's not something in the BIOS most of the times. Yeah. So this person says, what should I do regarding the two issues listed? I wanted to see what they had for their power supply. So let's see, power supply, so Ryzen 7, ASRock B550M, that's a motherboard, Gigabyte Eagle RTX 3080, some crazy, $500, $700 video card, a Seasonic 750 watt Focus Plus Gold power supply. Okay, 750. That is absolutely the lowest that I personally would want on a Ryzen machine. I don't even though I would want that for a Ryzen. I think personally I would want at least an 850, if not 1,000 for a Ryzen system. Because you're not only powering the Ryzen, you're also powering this 3080, man. Your graphics card alone probably has two power channels into it, and that alone is going to eat up a whole chunk of your power supply. And then you're shoving a Ryzen 7, was it? Yeah, Ryzen 7 on this thing? Dude, power supply. So I don't think it's causing your stutter, but I think that your power supply is barely doing it. Also, they say they have 32 gigs of RAM, 4 sticks of 8 gigabytes each, 2 NVMe drives, which are your solid-state drives, 1 SATA solid-state drive, 1 standard spinning hard drive, and 5 fans. Okay. They said, He also said, edited, I also checked my temperature. Nothing's above 80 degrees C, under load, so it's not thermally throttled. Yeah, if it was thermally throttled, you see a lot more issues, not just a second stutter like you're seeing. And I know the stutter is annoying, and it's enough to cause a problem. I really, if I was talking to this person on the phone, I would say right now, first of all, I would pull all this RAM out. I would put one 8 gigabyte stick in, and I would use it for a week. I would see if the stutter went away. If the stutter goes away, or if the stutter's still there, I would turn off the computer, replace that stick of memory with a new stick of memory, just one, and I put another 8 gig, because 4 times 8 gigs is enough to use your computer. It's not going to be great, but it's going to be just fine. And I would place another one. And then if that one stuttered, I would place it again. And I would do that to make sure, and I would make sure that all those RAM sticks are working properly. Stuttering, I find, usually is when the RAM can't kick its stuff back out, or the processor can't get its processed things into the RAM, right? So processor to RAM, RAM to screen, right? And so it either can't get it out or it can't get it in. And the stutter, where it's trying to figure out what it's doing, it could be RAM. I'm also thinking it could be hard drive stuff. You have 4 hard drives in this thing. So first I try the RAM with everything in there. See if the stutter stays. If the stutter stays, probably not the RAM. At that point then, I would remove all these hard drives, especially the spinning hard drive, and just use the NVMe that's booting, and I'd go online for like a week or something and see if you still have the stutter. There is your link is your connection is only as good as your weakest link, and your weakest link, I believe, is one of your pieces of hardware. That's what I would think. I would think that's one of your pieces of hardware, and the first thing I would look at is RAM. Second thing I would look at is one of these hard drives. This one spinning hard drive. This spinning hard drive, if it has anything on it that has to do with the operating system at all, and it's doing bad things, or it's taking its time, or it has a bunch of unallocated sectors, that could be your bottleneck. And that's what you have to find. You have to find the bottleneck, the one thing that's causing the entire freeway to slow down, right? If you can have all the freeway cruising along, all it takes is one recliner jumping out of that truck right in the middle of rush hour to bring the entire thing to a halt, right? And that's the same thing with this. Your connection is only good as your weakest link. Also, there's some power management stuff that you could look at. I really don't think so. Again, your power supply, I think, is at the bare minimum. The Ryzen 5 series had a thing back in the day where you could either set it to high performance or a custom Ryzen balanced thing that Microsoft would read and then load that into it. So if you click on your start menu and you actually type in control, and it will go to the control panel, not your settings, but the actual control panel that's still built into Windows 11. Go to the control panel, make sure your little icons are small icons. Go to the power button that you see, the power section in that list. Under there, you'll see you'll see a number of power management, what are they called? I'm going to look at here real quick. I'm sorry, everybody. Let's see. Control. We're going to go to control panel. On the control panel, we go here. We go to small icons or large icons, doesn't really matter. We click on power options. Power options then takes us to the power plans, preferred plans. And you have power balanced, power saver, high performance. If you have a Dell, it says Dell recommended. Or if you have a Ryzen, it'll say Ryzen recommended. And sometimes that will throttle the processor back to 10% of its normal processing power. You want it at 100%. If you have a laptop and you're on a plane and you have 20% battery left and you want to get through that movie, you got to watch Star Wars, then you're going to want to throttle back your processor. That will save you battery. Right. If you're using your computer plugged into the wall all the time, here it is sitting in the wall, plugged in, you want your processor at 100% because it's not going to be running at 100% the whole time, but it will use 100% of the power if it needs it to. If I need to run a program, if I need to jump on Google Chrome and open 20 tabs real quick, and I have my processor throttle back to 15%, it's going to use 15% of it. It's just, so that could be something as well. And it could be some trash left over from that weird Ryzen 5 firmware thing that happened when you had the old processor. I have no idea why that's that, but that should get rid of the Ryzen 5 first of all. So a lot of things like that we could do, a lot of things and a lot of tricks we're going to have to try. This is going to be a trial and error thing because there's no one definitive thing that could actually be. I think it's one of 3 or 4 things, but I think there's some edits that we can make, and I think there's some other things that we could actually edit or change, I don't like the power supply. I don't like... What was the other thing on there? Just to sum it up real quick. I don't like all the hard drives, and I don't like all the RAM. So we're going to limit the RAM, and I would take out at least one of the NVMe drives. I would take out, the SATA hard drive, who cares? But I would take it all. I'd limit it. You have 4 hard drives plugged into this thing. Let's get them all down to 1, just to test, and see if that helps. That's it. Okay, let's see what else we've got. Okay, next one. How can I make sure that no one's tracking my Apple devices? Great question. I have an iPad, an iPhone, Mac laptop. Could someone please help me make sure no one is able to track me? I've turned off my share location. Is that all I need to do? Okay, also if there's an AirTag near me in my car, will that show up my iPhone even if it isn't paired for my device? Currently trying to stay safe and distance myself from someone who has been dangerous. Okay, so you can turn off sharing. Turn off sharing. Also, if you go into the Find My app, like we were kind of talking about earlier, you can also make sure you don't see any other users or accounts in that. So like right now, if I go to Find My little brother, who's 40 years old, but he's my little brother, he actually has... In fact, let me see if he took his thing off. It looks like he did. So I used to be able to see my brother. I used to be able to see where he was, and it looks like he has turned that off, so now I can't. So he turned his sharing off. So that's one thing. You want to make sure your sharing is turned off. But if you go into Find My, you can go to your people, and under your people, you can see the people that you have. And right now, I have... Oh, there he is. Okay, he hasn't shared it. He is sharing it. So I can see that he's sitting in his house right now. Yeah, isn't that creepy? But if you go to people and you can see the people that are on that list. If you want to get rid of somebody, you can just swipe left on that person and trash them, and that'll remove them from your list of being able to see the people that are on there. It's that kind of stuff is creepy. It's a scary thing. And yes, the Apple AirTags also will show that as well. So turn off the sharing. And also change your Apple password and turn on two-factor authentication if you don't already have it turned on. Also, AirTags. If you have an iPhone 11 or later, you can use the Find Nearby function to precisely locate an AirTag if you think there's one around you. So if you go to Alert, then Continue, and then Find Nearby. So if you go Devices. Let's see if we even go to Alert. Or you can identify a found item, maybe. Okay, interesting. So, so identify find item, and then it'll search, and then you hit basically continue, find nearby, and go to the on-screen directions. You'll see the distance and direction your iPhone has from the tag. Check your car. Check any place you might think you have one hidden in a bag or anything like that. But they piggyback off the cell phone signal, so they wouldn't ever see your phone. But if the tag was in your car, they would see the tag anytime you or anytime a phone was close to it that would be able to work the signal. That's how it actually functions. It won't do it immediately, but it'll do about an hour or so. It usually takes about an hour or so for them to show up, and then it will tell you. Yeah. Okay. Great question, though. It's creepy stuff, and there's so many good things. I mean, again, these are technologies that are really used for good things, and then you see how they can be used for creepy things. So But I have a AirTag. I want in my computer bag, and when I leave it in my car, or if I leave it at home, or if I go to a call where I leave I have to go to the post office or something, my phone about 4 minutes after leaving the shop will go, "Hey, you left your computer bag behind," and it's a great thing if you leave things behind all the time, like I do. Okay, let's see. Photo editing software recommendations. Okay, running a Windows 11 Pro. Looking for software that can only change the size of a photo, like X by Y dimensions, but also set a maximum size of the final image. For example, if I want to take a 700 by 700 JPEG and make it 500 by with a maximum size of 100 kilobytes. Any suggestions? Okay, so there is one, www.getpaint.net. Getpaint.net/download. That's one of the ones that's really easy out there. It's been around for a while. Another one is... Getpaint has been around, I think, like 15 years now or something like that. But the other one I was thinking of was GIMP, GIMP. That was like when Photoshop 7 was out and you couldn't I can't afford Photoshop 7. You download GIMP and it does everything. I don't remember what it stands for, GIMP, but it's a great piece of software and it works really well. Also, there's Image Magic. I found another one online. Image Magic, MAGICK, also has a solution for that as well. If you wanted to try them out as well. I haven't actually tried that one, but it looked like they did that same feature as well. So photo editing, changing the size, as well as the file size, which is very important if you want to upload a thing to a photo, it's some type of photo thing that has a limited file size. You could shrink the photo down and make it really garbly, but still have it be a big size. So it's kind of nice that program would also allow you to do that. Okay, here's another one. Last week I deleted 3 gigabytes of Google storage, over 150,000 emails and some Drive files, and I got an email today telling me that I've run out of storage. Last week I completely emptied my Gmail pretty much, and today I'm being told that I have no Drive storage. So also, if you have Google Drive takes the attachments from your email and counts it as that. So it's just part of the entire. I don't know. I mean, like, I get your garage, your entire like Google Garage. It's part of all of that. Which I didn't actually know that at first. I thought that it was something. I thought that it was separate. Like they would keep the Drive stuff separate from your email, but it's your one account. So. Yeah, so it says, I haven't uploaded anything to my Drive. I haven't received any emails. I don't understand why this is happening. I didn't want to pay for a subscription. Am I being scammed? You're like, no scams. Go to your account on a browser, on a real browser, on a computer, not on your phone or anything, but go on a browser, go to My Drive Options, and check the recycle bin. Recycle bin will hold things for 30 days. If you don't empty the recycle bin in your Google Drive, it's most likely got everything that you just deleted. It basically stays in your Drive trash, taking up the space until the trash clears. The automatic clearing is 30 days. Or if you clear your trash immediately, you'll clear up the space now, and then you'll update your settings if you want to have your trash automatically purged at a shorter interval, or just not saved at all. You can just have it delete to delete, which I kind of don't recommend, but some people are really kind of picky with their trash. So, yeah. Okay, moving. This is great, everybody. We got 7 minutes left. Let me see how many more of these I can get through. Okay, is that right? 7 minutes. Okay. This has been the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQD 90.7 FM, and KSQD.org. I'm your host, Luigi Opido with Pleasure Point Computers. Someone asked, is 50 megabits per second good enough for two people online gaming at the same time? We might have actually talked about this one last night. I don't remember if we did, but this is a great one to talk about. 50 megabits per second. I ran my shop on 50 megabits per second for a long time. And that's purely download stuff. But anyway, so I've upgraded from 5 megabits to 50 around a couple of years ago, and this internet is so much faster and can handle a lot more. But hypothetically speaking, if one of my friends came over and wanted to spend a week or something with me and wanted to share online gaming with me in a different room, would it be an ongoing issue for us both? Would it be okay? Would it suffice? So let's see. Household, 2 people plus 1 friend. Latency at 50 to 70. Complete speeds 45 to 50 megabits download. 2 to 10 megabits upload. Yeah, with a 50 megabit per second download, you could online game with 100 people. The issue starts coming when you start downloading the games. So if you already have the games installed, then you're fine, because all you're doing then is latency at that point. It's not about the download. It's not about the download speed. Which you also can set limits inside or whatever, but it's all about the latency. It's about the communication back, and that's what you want that to be nice and quick. But if you think about it, like a LAN party, like back in the day, LAN party with internet servers, 12 people at 1.5 megabits per second with 384 kilobit DSL, right? And it wasn't an issue. And granted, games are a little bit thicker now, but it's the same process. So latency, it's all about latency. And it shouldn't be an issue. 50 megabits per second should be awesome, and you'll be no problem. If you both are downloading huge amounts of files, 50 megabits, you might see a little bit of slowdown, but I doubt you'd even see that. Okay, moving along again. My phone dropped in the bath. Not the iPhone. Everything's an iPhone to me, I guess, but this phone was dropped in the bath. Let's see. I accidentally dropped my phone in the bathtub, and now the screen is glitching and repeatedly turning on and off. Ugh. What steps can I take to resolve this? I remove the SIM card and place the phone in a bowl of rice in hopes of helping somehow. So rice doesn't do it. Remember, there's like a whole study that came out that rice does not do anything. Those silica gel packets will, but rice just has little particles that get into ports and stuff, so it's not good to use. So what do? Even if you do turn it off, well, okay, so the price of rice, is my phone doomed? It's like, well, even if you turn it off, okay, the battery needs to be disconnected. That's the most important thing. When we used to be able to pop off the back of our phones, pull out the battery, that's what we want to make sure. That we want to make sure the battery is disconnected because we don't want things to actually corrode or short. So like if, which is absolutely impossible to do in newer phones. If I had like my phone in my pocket and, it's all about removing the battery. If you can remove the battery and rinse everything with alcohol, you're great. But don't use rice. Rice is not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything at all. Ideally, you want to take the phone apart, dry it, start using, rubbing alcohol on the main board. Not rubbing alcohol, but, like isopropyl alcohol, which would flush out any of the impurities. Also, it's funny, like it's not the water that shorts out the boards. It's the actual impurities and like the things that are in our water, you know, the solvents and the minerals and stuff, that's actually what the thing that causes shorting. If you have purified water in the right way, it actually is a fantastic insulator for components. Like you see, they have online, they'll have like these mineral oil computers. That's not water, but it's mineral oil computers where they'll have the entire computer submerged in mineral oil, and that's the cooling process. So there's no heat sink on any of the processors or anything. Everything's just sitting in this bath of oil and running, and all the heat is being dissipated from the flowing oil over the machine. There's like a clear window, you can see everything into it. But yeah, if you can't take it apart, use the silica gel packs like you get in like, you know, beef jerky, that kind of stuff, or you get in shoe boxes and stuff. That's the best way to do it. And I use ones that don't come in food. That's also good. Okay, here, let's see. We have another one. Oh, yeah, it's funny. So it says inappropriate videos are randomly playing on my TV. We'll do this one on the way out here. Okay. So inappropriate videos. Last time me and my brother were trying to play some games on my old Xbox and HDMI 4. That's a connection on your television. But suddenly started switching to HDMI 3 and would play pornographic videos often. Does anyone know why? Everyone keeps accusing me of putting them on there, and it's embarrassing. So one, go to your television set, spin it around, and look at your HDMI 3 port. First of all, just do that for me. A lot of TVs have there's like this 4-letter acronym or 3-letter acronym. I use it. It's a protocol that like Apple TV or Blu-ray players or a lot of the current day electronics will use that travels over HDMI to your television set to say, hey, I just turned on, you should too. And it'll switch the input to that thing and then play whatever it is. Like I hit one button on my remote, turns on my stereo. It also turns on my Apple TV, and the Apple TV actually sends a signal up to my television set and turns the television. I think it's called SEC. I actually don't remember. That's just the thing that just popped in my head. But that will then show and show my Apple TV without me changing the settings. Go look at your television set. I bet there is something plugged in to HDMI 3 and someone's screwing with you. Or it's an April Fool's joke, one or the other. But I would also, if there's something plugged in, unplug it and see if that continues. If it doesn't, then you've got it. But I'm pretty sure that someone's probably just messing with you, and it's purely because it's someone just plugged in something and they're screwing with you. Yeah, it's to have something randomly turning to HDMI 3 and just running. I mean, maybe if you had a smart TV, no, it still wouldn't do that. It would say it was on the smart TV. It wouldn't say it was on HDMI 3. Someone's messing with you, and what they're doing is they're sending a video signal. Your TV is seeing that as a new signal's coming in. Switch the input, and then someone's playing porn. So they're probably broadcasting it from somewhere on your Wi-Fi, or they're sitting outside, or they're in the next room or something. It's someone's messing with you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, well, we reached the end of another Computer Man show. I gotta flip to the end here. If I missed your call tonight, you can always reach me by email, Luigi, Luigi, @ksqd.org. Remember, tune in to the Computer Man Show Tuesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. here on 90.7 FM, K-Squid, KSQD. I'd like to thank all my listeners and my callers. Thank you, KSQD, Sandy Stoner, Harold Festing, Reggie Goodman, David Kibrick, John Sanders, all Santa Cruz, Lincoln, Tesla, the Waz, Mr. Keystone, Charles, and of course, the humble Electron. Thank you again, Santa Cruz. I'm your Computer Man here on K-Squid, KSQD 90.7 FM, and KSQD.org. Stay tuned right here for Be in the Night. I hope you all have a positively charged evening. Until next time.